Okay, so if you're going through a breakup, you know that feeling, right? It's this overwhelming panic to fix things, to call them, to text them, to do anything right now to make the pain stop. But what if the single most powerful move you could make is to do absolutely nothing at all? Today, we are going to break down the no contact rule and why time, as hard as that is to hear right now, might just be your greatest ally.
You know, relationship expert Coach Lee he hit the nail on the head with this. Seriously, think about it. Getting an ex back, or even just healing yourself, it's a lot like baking a cake. There's a recipe, and time is one of those key ingredients you just can't skip. If you try to rush it, crank up the heat, you don't get a perfect cake any faster. You just end up with a burnt mess.
So let's dive into our first section here and talk about why that desperate need to act right now is probably the very worst thing you can do.
This slide just lays it out so perfectly. On the left, you've got everything your panic is screaming at you to do, right? More calls, more texts, just more of everything. But look at the actual strategy on the right. It is the complete opposite. Silence, patience, space. This is all about making a shift from that panicked, knee-jerk reaction to a powerful, deliberate inaction.
And this brings us to the very first critical phase, just letting the smoke clear. It's all about creating the space needed for emotions to settle down. And that goes for both of you.
At first, time is kind of like a fire extinguisher. It cools off all that leftover anger from the breakup. But what's even more important is it gives your ex the space to actually think. I mean, they probably spent a long time deciding to break up, right? So they need time to be 100% sure that any feelings they have about getting back together are real, and not just some fleeting impulse that's only going to end up hurting you both all over again.
All right, this right here, this leads to a huge turning point. This is when your absence stops being just an idea in their head and starts becoming a real, everyday experience for your ex. And this is where no contact really starts to work its magic.
This chart really gets to the core of it. Right after the breakup, your ex is only dealing with a conceptual breakup. It's just an idea. It might even feel like a little vacation from the relationship. But when you go silent, that's when they get hit with the actual breakup. The day in, day out reality that you're gone. And that is when it starts to feel permanent and real.
So here's the crucial part. Every single text you send, every call you make, it's like you're their safety net. You are literally making the breakup easy for them. You're constantly reassuring them, hey, I'm still here, and showing them that they haven't really lost you. You have to take that net away so they can feel the full weight of their decision.
And when you do that, well, that's where everything starts to change. Your silence begins to shift the entire power dynamic of the situation.
Just look at this chart. The moment the breakup happens, your ex is holding all the cards, aren't they? They made the decision, and you're left feeling pretty helpless. But no contact, that is your strategic countermove. When you refuse to chase them, it doesn't just level the playing field. It forces them to see your strength, and it starts to bring those scales back into balance.
You know, it's a really basic principle of human psychology. When something is always available, we kind of take it for granted. But the second it becomes scarce, its value in our minds just skyrockets. By completely removing yourself from their life, you stop being this easily accessible option. You become scarce. And in their mind, your value starts to go way, way up.
So, as that silence goes on, what do you think is happening inside their head? Well, their confidence in their decision to break up starts to crack. That certainty gets replaced by curiosity, and a whole new set of really unsettling questions starts to bubble to the surface.
And just like that, they start to feel that same fear of loss that you've been dealing with. They start wondering if you've moved on, if there's someone else, if they made a massive mistake, and maybe, just maybe, if they could lose you for good. For the very first time, they're forced to face the real consequences of their choice.
So what if it works? What if they do come back? How do you handle that potential reunion to make sure things are actually different this time around?
You know, that first meeting after a long stretch of silence can be a total game changer. All that time they spent just thinking about missing you suddenly becomes very, very real. The emotions are high, and seeing the new, stronger you can be this incredibly powerful reminder of exactly what they chose to walk away from.
But here's the absolute key. You cannot just jump right back in where you left off. The goal isn't to pretend the breakup never happened. It's to build something new on much more solid ground. So you have to move slowly. Show a little reservation. Let them feel like they're earning you back. If you rush things, you risk what's called buyer's remorse, That's where the initial relief of having you back fades, and all the old doubts and problems come creeping right back in.
So, we'll just leave you with this thought. In a situation where every single fiber of your being is screaming at you to do something, could it be that the most strategic, the most powerful, and the most effective move you can make is to do nothing at all? By giving them the breakup they thought they wanted, you might just be creating the exact space they need to realize it's the last thing they ever want.